Hello everybody and welcome back to another First Impressions video. Today we are going to be talking about Overwatch. The Overwatch. Now honestly, I sort of had to sit here and think whether or not I should call this video a review instead, because it's just a team shooter, but I haven't put an extremely massive amount of time into Overwatch yet, so I think I'm still getting its full taste, I guess. So, first impressions, yeah. Anyway, Overwatch was recently released, and I, like I'm sure many of you, have been playing it. But is it good? Is it bad? Well, let me tell you a little bit about the game and my experience with it so far. Before I get into everything though, if you want the condensed version, the game is awesome. It's a lot of fun. It has some flaws, you know, every game has some flaws, but that's the condensed version, so... Anyway, let's jump into the pros, then we'll talk about cons, and then I'll wrap up with a conclusion. Pros. The first thing to say about Overwatch is as soon as I played this game, for the very first time, I was a little bit overwhelmed by the amount of heroes to choose from. A little overwhelmed, mind you. Now, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. In fact, quite the opposite. Overwatch has 21 heroes to choose from, all with different play styles, ultimates, personalities, looks. I mean, it's awesome to have so much choice in this game when it comes to how you want to play it. But it's also awesome how the game sort of encourages you to try out the other heroes you might be a bit intimidated by, or maybe other heroes whose playstyle maybe you thought you wouldn't like. For example, I started this game playing as Soldier 76 and Reinhardt and stuff, but now characters like Symmetra and Mercy are some of my favorites to play. It's great. The heroes in Overwatch are also relatively simple to approach, although some are much easier to play than others. Now, I'm not pointing any fingers, Bastion, but there might be a need for some balancing with some of the heroes, maybe. But anyway, the heroes are really easy to pick up and play, although it does take a lot of time to master the heroes. Except for Bastion, of course. Overwatch also features ultimate abilities which charge up over time and are always really exciting as hell to unleash on the enemy team. Your ultimate and the timing of it can literally change entire games, and that charging meter, I admit, it makes you want to keep playing until you get that opportunity to potentially decimate the other team. Or fail miserably trying. There's also a lot of mobility in Overwatch, which I really, really enjoy. Characters will be climbing walls, they'll be using grappling hooks, flying up in the air and blasting bombs so they jump around and stuff. It's great. There's also a good amount of maps to play in the game, although I do wish there were maybe a couple more. There's currently 12, and that's great. I mean, it's fine, but, you know, I'm just a demanding personality, so more. Give me more. Unlocks in Overwatch also encourage a lot of progression, and loot boxes are always a treat to get every time you level up. Play of the game, as well as the after game screen that shows you the best stats of selected players, is also always cool to see, especially when you get the play of the game, or you are up on the MVP board for being badass throughout the game. It feels so rewarding, and I love it. It makes you want to keep playing the game. There's also plenty of little details and references to other Blizzard titles and games, which I know many people will enjoy. I enjoy them. As well as some interesting dialogue that's exchanged between Overwatch's heroes when you're waiting for a game to start. You're going to have to play the game to hear some of those, however. When you're playing, you're also going to discover the Brawl mode, which is a custom game mode that changes every week and features new and sometimes kind of strange ways to play the game. So far at the time of me releasing this video, there's been 2 weekly brawls. The first one was every character was overpowered as hell, just to put simply. That's the best way to put it. But the current one, the one that's going on right now, you can only play as Hanzo or Genji, and they just duke it out. Tons of Hanzos and Genjis just duking it out. If you don't know, they're the twin brothers in Overwatch who have this kind of family drama going on story-wise, so they're duking it out. To me, the best part of Overwatch, though, is that it feels so on and off. Now, what I mean by that is that this isn't really a game that you're probably going to end up playing for 5 hours every day. But rather it's going to be something that you can just play in your free time when you got a couple of minutes. Or maybe play on the weekends with your friends. Or maybe, if you're a Twitch streamer like me, you can play with your Twitch viewers. That's a pro for me, at least. I like on and off titles that don't demand you put in thousands of hours of gameplay to get the best gear or the best power-ups. In Overwatch, everyone is on the same foot, and everyone can approach the game however they want, and that is great in my playbook. And, the Overwatch cinematics, they're pretty badass. I love them. I know that has nothing to do with the game or the gameplay, but you know what? This is my video. I'm gonna put it on the pro list, so Overwatch cinematics are cool. Go check them out if you haven't seen them. Cons. However, I have found a couple of cons in Overwatch, things that have stood out to me. Now, first and foremost, to start simple, this game has microtransactions in it. Now, you don't have to buy any loot boxes because you get one every time you level up in Overwatch, but is it okay to have microtransactions in a pay-to-play game? No, to me, I don't really like that, but you might disagree, you might not care. That's just my opinion. And speaking of loot boxes, the stuff that are in these things is, well, it's not that impressive most of the time. Sometimes you can get a legendary skin or a really badass victory pose, and you're gonna freak out when you get those. But besides that, everything else is kinda meh. Most of the skins are just recolors, and the vast majority of the stuff you're gonna get out of these loot crates are profile avatars, sprays, and voice lines for characters that you'll rarely, if ever, actually use. And speaking of avatars, why can't I upload my own avatar to this game? I want a silly avatar. Well, I guess the last thing they want is some guy, like, playing the game with a profile avatar of, like, a big, like, blue drain-eye penis or whatever. Whatever. Okay, on a more serious note, some of the maps are not that great in terms of design. And I'm speaking primarily of Hanamura and Temple of Anubis. I hate these maps. Both of them suffer from this single entry issue for the attacking team at the start. And, well, what you're seeing right now is pretty much what happens in a lot of these games. I feel that the defending side has a huge advantage, and so I don't like these two maps. I've never met anybody that likes these two maps, to be honest. So, some of the maps aren't that good. The key word, though, let's underline it and put it in bold. Some. Like 2, and that's it. Finally, because I know someone's going to ask about this, because I've seen so many people complaining about the price of this game, but honestly, I don't see an issue with buying into a game that will supposedly have regular updates as time goes on. However, I would seriously not recommend getting the Origins Edition. I'm sorry, Blizzard. That's the $60 version if you don't know. I mean, unless you really want those couple of skins and, like, the Hearthstone back and the little Winston pet in World of Warcraft, whatever. Speaking for myself, I don't think it's worth it, so I would recommend you just get the $40 edition, the regular one, but that's just my opinion. Now, this isn't me saying that the game isn't fun or that you're not going to get your money's worth if you were to get the $60 version, but I just feel this is more of a $40 game with the amount of maps that it has and the heroes and the stuff that you get in the loot boxes being kind of So, it's just my opinion. I mean, feel free to disagree. But my friends, in conclusion, Overwatch is a great game. It is. It's fun. You're gonna like it. And the cons that I've thrown at you are mostly just my opinions. What I dislike, you may not have a problem with, and that's cool. Overwatch will definitely kill many hours for you, though, but I recommend you just don't burn yourself out on this game like some of my friends have. They've been playing it way too much, so kind of got burned out. I'm really looking forward to playing future maps in Overwatch. I'm really looking forward to checking out the new heroes that are coming out in the future. I really can't wait to see all the new cinematics that they've been talking about. And I mean, it's going to be great. And as a final note, the Overwatch community is pretty cool. At least in my experience. I have not one time, experienced a dickweed in this game. Well, I did experience one guy who was a little salty, but it wasn't that bad. The Overwatch community is a passionate group of people, that's for sure, but that's why I love them. And that's pretty much it. That's my first impressions of this game so far. I like it. Now then, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go back to playing Junkrat. So thank you for watching, guys, and I will see you next time.